You know you're a decent person. You've been in a difficult relationship, and if you have struggled to let go and move forward, then this video is for you. We will be looking at the science of what keeps us stuck, wanting an apology or validation from somebody that's really betrayed us or hurt us. It's time to look at the science. What is it that keeps us stuck, especially after a difficult or potentially toxic relationships? So stick around. I will explain the 5 key reasons why this happens and what you can do about it. My name's Dr Amen Kaur, and hopefully you will gain something really great from this and get yourself unstuck. Now, why do we get stuck in this loop? Wanting maybe an apology from this person that's betrayed you, or wanting to explain it to everybody. It's so easy to want someone to acknowledge the pain they put us through and admit that what they did was wrong. Now, this is something that so many of us can get stuck in, and it's a process that we do need to go through, especially if we've been in a difficult situation. We will get stuck unless you have the tools to get through it, and I will explain to you what the tools are. So we're going to look at why this happens first and foremost, so that you can understand, how to use this tool and when to use this tool. And it is a normal process, so please, most importantly, do not give yourself a hard time if you're finding yourself stuck repeating the same scenario in your own head, or talking about it to other people, or finding that you can't really be in the moment. You can't really have fun anymore because it's always in the back of your mind, like you're mulling it over and over again. Why did they treat me like this? It was so bad. What did they do? And trying to analyze it and seeing, what could I have done differently? Maybe if I had said this, and then this would have happened, or really running through different scenarios in your head over and over again. What it's really stopping you from doing is living your life right now. And if you're wanting to move forward, then you really do need to listen to the rest of this video, the whole of the video, so it really does make sense. So first and foremost, I want you to just stop for a moment, and we're going to look back at you, who you were before you had this relationship. Maybe it's a relationship that you've grown into, maybe it's your family, but really, truly, it's important to look at who you were or who you are and why you're in this scenario in the first place. Look, before you met this person, you probably had, you were successful, you probably had this, sunshiny, glowy, like a beautiful flower, bright, beautiful person who's shining bright. Maybe you were bubbly, maybe you were, you just got this something about you. There's just something about you. You were successful, you were going places. You probably is someone that had a really positive mindset, and everyone maybe loved you, but you had, what you were looking for was probably love. Okay. And if you grew into this relationship, or say if you one of your parents is slightly toxic and they just make you feel bad every time you go over, it could be that there's something about you that they're trying to dampen. I want you to imagine yourself as this amazing, bright, beautiful person, and there's this cloud that's coming along and trying to dampen who you are so that they can feel better within themselves. So, if you've been in a difficult or toxic relationship, what they're trying to do is give you what you wanted in the first place at the beginning. So there's always a cycle in these kind of relationships. You're amazing, you're this bright, beautiful person, and you're looking for love. And there comes a toxic person, or a narcissist, or a psychopath, or somebody that's trying to dampen you, or is a difficult person. They're coming along and seeing you, this incredible person. And what they're going to do right at the beginning of the cycle, of the relationship cycle, is love bomb you. They're going to give you everything that you originally wanted, which was just love. You just want to love someone. You want to give your love to somebody, and you want to receive love. Now, I want to be clear, there's nothing wrong with wanting love, with needing love, to be loved by someone. It doesn't mean you're a weak person or there's something wrong with you. It's a fundamental need of every human being. And you are a human being and you need it too. And you deserve love. You know, you deserve to be able to give love and you deserve to be able to receive love. This is fundamental that every single person in the world needs it. Now, there's been so many different studies that show that love is fundamental. You know, you can see it in the brain, that there's a certain part of the brain we need connection. But there's also been some studies many, many years ago where if children were born and they weren't touched, they weren't held, they weren't loved, they died. We need love. It's fundamental for our well-being. So you wanting to be loved and getting trapped in a toxic relationship or in a relationship that's difficult, where someone's manipulated you, what they had to do to begin with was give you a ton of love. They gave you this so much love at the beginning. So you kind of maybe even felt like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. You know, this is so good to be true. But that's the start of the cycle. It's love bombing. And the second cycle, part of the cycle, is devaluation. Now, again, I want you to be aware that devaluation doesn't occur all of a sudden. It's like you're devalued bit by bit by bit, and maybe it's cloaked in, "I'm only joking," or, you know, these kind of ways. So it's done in a very subtle and conniving manner, so you don't notice it. It's very much like, you know, if a frog was boiled in water, it would jump out. If you put a frog in boiling hot water, it would just jump out. It would know that this is not good for me, I'm getting out. But if you put a frog in cold water and you slowly put the heat up over time, it won't notice and it will die eventually. That's the problem here, is that we get devalued over a time and it's done subtly and slowly and it increases over time. And in between that, if you find that if they devalue you, they'll also love bomb you. So they'll hoover you back up. That is the cycle. So there's love bombing when they first meet you, they start devaluing you, they may discard you, and then they'll hoover you back up. That is the cycle that you keep going through. Now, this is really difficult for the brain. Okay. What happens to the brain is that it will start to deregulate as well. What that means is you're not able to feel safe. You don't feel safe in the relationship because you don't know what they're going to do. You don't know. You feel like that you're walking on eggshells. You don't know if they're going to be angry. You don't know if they're going to be happy. You don't know if they're going to love you. You don't know if they're going to, make you feel bad within yourself. But what happens eventually when you're in that cycle is that you get used to somebody else being in control of your emotions. So imagine over time, you give over your control of your emotions and how you feel to the person, to the other person, where you need their validation. You need them to be okay for you to be okay. So the key here, now you might be thinking, well, I don't like that. I don't like the fact that, I've given over my emotions, the emotional control over to somebody else. That makes me a weak person. No, that's not how it works. Okay. Let me just make it clear. The way the brain is set up, it's not set up to make you successful, to make you happy, to make you, great. It's not, that isn't the way. The primary function, the first thing that the brain will look at is, are you safe? That's its priority. That's the first step. Anything that happens in the world, the first thing that it will look at is, are you safe? Now, if you have been in a difficult relationship, your brain has started to go into survival mode. And you will notice that. You will notice that within yourself, that you're just surviving, you're struggling through, you're not having fun anymore. You're not being your bright, beautiful sunflower or amazing person that you used to be. Okay. you've gone into survival mode. And what that means is now your brain is going, forget everything else. Let's just shut everything else off. I just need to make you safe. That is the priority. What's happening is that the brain is going, okay, one way of making you safe is to stop that person treating you in the way that they are. And one way you can do that is to get them to see what they've done isn't good and that they've hurt you. Okay? So, this is a way of you being able to regulate yourself. That's the reason why you're going in this loop over and over again and going through it over and over again. Is one, you're shutting off all the different areas of your brain and you're focusing on just staying safe. So your brain is going, okay, safety alert, we need to keep you safe. The second thing is, it's a way of you feeling that relief. Oh my gosh, I can just move on with my life now that they have admitted what they did was wrong. It's not going to happen to me again. I am safe, so I can get on with my life. So, the reason why you get stuck in this scenario isn't because there's something wrong with you, or that you're not strong enough, or that you're not, there's some mental problem with you that you're keep getting triggered. It's the fact that your brain is trying to keep you safe because you've been in an unsafe situation where you don't, and the only way that you know how to keep yourself safe is by the other person changing so that you can feel I'm safe in my environment. They're going to stop talking about me in a negative way. I'm going to be safe now. So, we can't change someone else's behavior. So this makes it really difficult, especially if the other person might have narcissistic traits or maybe have psychopathic traits, or they lack empathy to be able to see the impact that they've had on you, and they're very, very self absorbed. So, what do you do in that scenario when the person's quite difficult and they're not willing to see what they have done to you? If anything, they might be twisting and turning things around and blaming you instead. Okay, when you're dealing with someone like that, the truth of the matter is they're making you feel worse day by day. The more you try and explain and defend yourself, the more they will blame you that you're the problem. So, how do we solve this? How do we solve this so that you can get your brain back, you can get your happiness back, you can truly let go and be able to move forward with your life? How do we do that when your brain is stuck in that loop? Yeah. It's like Groundhog Day. You're kind of doing the same thing over and over again. And you're thinking about the same thing over and over again, which is that person and the way they treated you. And sometimes this can go on for years until you feel safe. Now, you need another way of regulating yourself. You need another way of feeling safe. And it's not just knowing that the narcissist or the toxic person is difficult and making logical reasoning sense with it. That isn't going to help you enough. Okay. That's maybe the first step. You can get educated and you can understand that this person is potentially toxic, and this is this is the truth of the matter. It's not me, it's them. But the problem you have is your brain still doesn't feel safe. The reason for that is that over time, the toxic person hasn't allowed you to have your emotional needs met. Why is that important? You might be asking me, Amen, why is this important? It's very important because over time, they basically stopped you knowing how to regulate your own emotions. Because all you know now is to numb your emotions, to stay strong, pretend it's not happening, and then try and move forward. What that's doing is making you feel more and more unsafe over time. Okay, you're surviving, but that's basically it. You don't know how to fully be you again. Okay, you've kind of lost yourself. You've kind of lost your connection to yourself, and really, what you're doing is you've lost the ability to connect with all parts of your brain within your brain. Okay, So, what do you need to learn then? Well, you need to learn how to regulate your emotions and regulate your body, because the more you push your emotions down, the more anxious and fear that you might feel about the future. So, we need to learn how to regulate our emotions and how we feel, especially being able to deal with emotions like shame and guilt. You might feel ashamed and feel guilty for being in the situation that you are in with this person and the way they treated you. But you need to be able to learn how to process those emotions rather than just pushing them down and numbing them. That way, you can let go of going over it again and again and again. So the reason why you're ruminating so much is you're trying to make sense of something so you can let go and regulate within yourself. So you just need some tools to be able to regulate your emotions and regulate how you feel within yourself and regulate the fear. So that's what's holding you back, and that is what you need. Now, if that is something you're interested in, please look in the resources section. You can find out a bit more about how the brain works. I have an amazing masterclass, and also you can see if there's anything I can do to support you as well in terms of some of the programs that I have to help you learn how to regulate so you can move forward and let this go so that you can forgive yourself and find happiness once again and really step into your power and your potential moving forward. You can be you again. It's just learning how to do that. The second thing I would say is we really need to cultivate your self worth again. Remember, the second phase of any these kind of relationships is devaluation. So you really got to work on valuing yourself, your self worth, and really stepping into, you know what, you deserve to be loved. You deserve to be truly, 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 truly loved. And the most important person in your life is you. Honestly, how you treat yourself is how others treat you. And what's happened is over time, the way you treat yourself isn't the way you used to treat yourself. You need to basically get to a space of self love again, really loving yourself, really seeing your worth inside of yourself so that you can then undo some of the harm that they've done, but also have these amazing tools to be able to manage and master yourself, not just your thinking, but your emotions and your body in terms of should anything happen, you know how to regulate yourself. Get that remote control back off of the person that's been in charge of how you feel and start learning how to be in charge of yourself again. And you can do that. The most important person in your life, in terms of who you need to believe in and who needs to believe in you, is you. You know, one of the most amazing people, that has written a book is J.K. Rowling. She literally had no one believing her, like from childhood, but she believed in herself. And then she wrote these amazing books around Harry Potter. You know, I'm wearing my Harry Potter glasses today. So, you too need to just believe in yourself. You're the most important person. You genuinely do not need validation or an apology from somebody else to be able to step into your greatness. You don't. You don't. You need to be able to see your own value and to just go for it and be who you truly are, regardless of what anyone else thinks. The sun is still shining, regardless of what we think. It doesn't care what anyone says or does, it will still be amazing and bright. You too step into your power and be your amazing self and really love yourself no matter what this person's doing. You don't need their apology, but you do need to be able to manage and regulate yourself. That's the only thing. Look, I hope this has been useful and I'm sending you so much love and blessings to you. Till next time.